Slakia, I had a phone call come in, um, which is a spirit, because it was my brother, my biological brother, my full-blooded brother. He got a new job, and he needs some composite, safety toes shoes. And hey, man, I got way too many safety toe shoes from all the warehouse jobs that I worked. You know, um, and they be giving out free safety toe shoes or $100 discounts. So man, I got a whole bunch. You know, and shoot, he needed some because he got a new job, and I'm like, okay, let me just give him a pair that I don't wear a lot. And then I thought about it. I'm like, that's the spirit. I, you know, this is my time. The Lord opened up an opportunity to be charitable. Out of all the people, yeah, hey, my full-blooded brother, my biological brother, so I gave him a pair that I like, but I know he would appreciate them more, because hey, they're pretty comfortable, man. They don't even feel like safety toe shoes. They feel like running shoes. You know, they're lightweight too. Usually safety toe shoes are heavy, uncomfortable. They irritate your big toe, but those ones, hey man, I could wear those all day. You know, you know, um, I save those for days where my feet hurt or whatnot. I don't really wear them like that. But you know what? It's not like I work every day. I got plenty of safety toe shoes. I be rotating them out. So my feet are they don't get used to they don't be busted up wearing the same old safety toe shoes. You know. But I gave him a pair. That I know he appreciate. He won't have no issues. You know. I think he'll appreciate them, man. He'll appreciate those. Because like I said, they're comfortable, man. But yeah, but yeah, he's the one that called and interrupted my lesson, which hey, um, I feel like I've been rambling a lot, but hey, that's just so I'm gonna move on. Colossians 3:14 says, and above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. Colossians 3. Slovakia. What the fuck is that sound, man? Slovakia. You know what I think it is? Oh shit. What the fuck? Yeah, I think we got a mouse in my house. Yep, I think that's a little mouse. I saw you. I see you. Yep, it's a little mouse. I see him. He thinks I can't see him. Okay. Yep, there he is. This is why I need a cat. A house cat. Man, those little mouses, they're sneaky. I see you, little dude. I'm not gonna hurt you. I don't want you in here, but I could hurt you, man. At least I know what it is. I thought it was people, squatters living under my house or something. I'm like, oh shit. Because hey, I live with my wife and my son. And usually the house is a little bit louder, but but she's gone for the weekend, and it's just me and my baby boy. I put him to sleep, so there's a substantial amount of quietness right now. So I'm like, oh shoot, is there is there somebody squatting, living under my house? Because, we got a big old crawl space, the size of the whole house, under this house, I'm like, oh shit, I might have to deal with somebody, or somebody breaking in, or, the neighbor being weird or something, or some hobos just fucking with my house or some shit. But no, it's a little mouse, and I'm looking at him right now. He's a little cute little guy. I'm gonna deal with him tomorrow. At least I know what that noise is. But Slakia, brothers, Colossians 3. I'm gonna start at 12, man. Put on, therefore, as the elect of Yahweh. So every brother in this truth is striving to be the elect. We want to be the elect because the elect are going to be crowned by Yahweh Shai himself. They're going to be saved. All right. And what will the elect be doing, man? Just anything? No. They're going to be doing this. Holy and beloved, vows and mercies. All right. Kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Okay. Forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Yahweh Shai HaMashiach forgave you, so also do ye. Verse 14, and above all these things, put on charity. All right, so it says, which is the bond of perfectness. All right, verse 15, it says, and let the peace of Yahweh rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body. All right, one body, and be ye thankful. Okay, so hey, that's gonna be a characteristic of the elect. The elect are gonna be charitable. All right, you say you're the elect, right? You hope to be the elect, a hopeful elect, right? Well, you're gonna be charitable, man, willing to help brothers out, each other out, even if it's somebody, outside of this truth. Hey, my biological brother's not in this truth. Hey, I'm willing to help. With anything, man. Righteously. And hey, for instance, before I came, or how do you say, some brothers are they're a one-man camp. So how are they supposed to be charitable towards brothers? Well, first off, by putting up edifying videos, getting in contact with brothers, through the internet, through the unicorn, helping brothers out through the internet, but even with people around you, all right, people in your life that are around you, help them out if they need help. Ask them if they need help. If you are up, in life, if you have, things to give, but yeah, before the Lord, gave me my brother in this truth, Mataza Lakam, all right. I was out, I was preaching by myself, and I was doing this thing by myself, so, and I was willing to be charitable, man, because I knew these scriptures about being charitable, if you're not charitable, without charity, you're timbrels, you're just cymbals, clinking in the wind, that made me tremble, because I'm like, oh, I may think that I'm doing the work of the Lord and I'm on good track and good standings with Yahweh Shem Shai, but hey, I have to be charitable, man. I have to help brothers out, so I was looking to help brothers out, man, but not very many brothers knew me, and you know how Akim are in this truth, that don't know you, they have to vet you, get to know you, and they're not super willing to give out their numbers because, hey, we deal with agents coming into this truth, So, brothers deal with each other, in this truth, man. Okay, especially when you're coming up and coming brother. You came into this truth, you're fresh into this truth, but hey, you're by yourself, but you're trying to be charitable. It's kind of hard. So the Lord put this, He told me, hey, just be charitable. All right, help people out around you. All right, and the Lord will, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna help my family out and whatnot. I'm gonna get off my ass. I'm gonna get a job, and then eventually, I'm gonna try my best and pray to Yahweh Shemi Shai to get a better job, a better paying job. I'm gonna build myself up in the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Shemi Shai. I'm gonna study, show myself approved, and with the knowledge of Yahweh Shemi Shai, I'm gonna help, people around me and brothers out. I'm gonna put up comments on the comment board, put up precepts on the comment board, with brothers' lives. I'm gonna do videos. I'm gonna go out there and prophesy, edify brothers, in this truth. I'm gonna be charitable, man. That's how you be charitable in that situation, man. And pray. Also, I was also praying to Yahweh Shemi Shai to open the opportunity, all right, and more opportunities to be charitable, all right, okay, in this truth, towards his fold, towards the elect, towards Akim in this truth, who know Yahweh Shemi Shai as well. All right, think about that, man. Okay, you gotta be charitable. You gotta ask for that as well. Okay, that little mouse still there? I don't know where the hell you went. So hey, man, meditate on charity, being a giver in this truth. Okay, yeah, us brothers in this truth, we know about the prophecies. We know about the mark of the beast. We know about reincarnation. We know about the fear of Yahweh Shemi Shai. We know about the keeping the laws and commandments. We know about the mysteries of the Gentiles. All right, we know that Esau is the so-called white man. All right, we know that the Lord thinks about these other nations as spittle. All right, we know these things, man. Okay, we know the Shabbat is according to the new moon. The holy days are according to the new moon. Okay, we know not to get unlawful haircuts. We know what sin is. Sin is the transgression of the law. We know what love is. Okay, but if you're not charitable, you're as nothing. Okay, let's get that one. Which one is it? Is it 2 Corinthians 9:6? It says, I believe I read this already. It says, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap bountifully. Okay, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for Yahweh loveth a cheerful giver. Okay, you have to want to give and help each other out, man. All right, if you got the money, yeah, be looking to help brothers out, man. It's better than buying yourself a pair of shoes, which, hey, man, I love shoes. It's better than buying your favorite food or spending that money on yourself. All right, being helpful, giving that money, that extra money to Akim in this truth, or somebody. All right, it's better than spending it on yourself or being greedy like Amalek, Okay. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai loveth a cheerful giver. Do you know that about the scriptures? Do you know that about the Bible? All right. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, and then to the rest of the brothers in the truth, man. All right. Tobit 12:8 through 9, it says, prayer is good with fasting and alms and righteousness. A little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. Okay? It is better to give alms than to lay up gold. You hear that? with the money and the things do that you do obtain in this world, the material things, all right, financial things, money and whatnot, the things that you do have, you know, it is better to give those things, help each other out, share those things with fellow like-minded brothers and sisters in this truth, and loved ones in your life too, okay? Than to hoard it, use it for yourself, you know, be selfish, because you're gonna die anyway. And the things that you do give and help each other out with, that the Lord blesses you with, the Lord, He's gonna give it back to you anyway. All right, if not on this side, definitely in the kingdom. The scriptures say, "He that forsaketh houses, mother, brother, you know, etc., the things that you forsake and give up in this world for Yahweh Shema Shai's sake, the Lord shall reward unto you 100-fold." Not double, not 3 times, not 99 times more, but double fold. 100-fold. And really, that 100 represents infinity, man. Okay? Because that's what we're going to be experiencing in the kingdom forever. We're going to experience the word forever and what it means. We're going to experience pleasure and what it really means. And we're going to have the right body, immortal body, to experience what pleasure really is. All right? See this mortal, third-dimensional, fleshly body? It doesn't know what real pleasure is, man. You know, we may experience pleasure, but not true pleasure. Because this body could, you know, the scriptures say the flesh is, you know, there's no end to pleasing the flesh, roughly paraphrasing. You know, okay, the heart is exceedingly wicked. Who can know it? You know, you can't satisfy the flesh. You know, yeah, it feels good, but hey, you're gonna want some more. You may get some coochie, you know, from a, you know, a baddie, but hey, you know, you're gonna want it later, you know, 10 days later or a month later, you know. You pray for the Lord, you know, to give you a woman, you know, a bone, you know, then you know, the Lord gives it to you. Then you're like, man, you know, yeah, you know, or while you're praying to the Lord, you know, you ask the Lord, you know, yeah, about Shema Shah, you know, Bible Shah, you know, bless me with the, a bone, if you know what I mean by bone. All right, you know, then I'll be set, you know, and then He gives it to you, and then a week later, you want some more. You pray to the Lord some more, because the flesh cannot be satisfied, man. Okay? You can't satisfy this third dimensional flesh. Okay? The scriptures say the spirit is willing, but the flesh profiteth not, roughly paraphrasing. You know? The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Let's get that one. Flesh profit not. John 6:33 says, "It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life." And what is one of the words that the Lord speaks unto us? Be charitable, be a cheerful giver, give alms. You know, that is spirit, that is life. All right. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach 18:15, "My son, blemish not thy good deeds, neither use uncomfortable words when thou givest anything." Okay, so, you know, back to the point of, you know, when you help a brother out, you know, don't be doing it in a bad mood, all right, with uncomfortable words, cussing, you know, whatnot, you know, making a brother feel bad because you help him out, you're going out your way, you know, giving your time and energy to help, you out, man, you help, you know, and whatnot. Nah, man, don't effing be like that. I hate people like that, man. And I hate myself when I be like that, when I don't even realize it sometimes, man. Because sometimes, brothers, we do things and we don't even realize it. And the Lord reveals it unto us later, you know, for us to look back on and reflect on ourselves and improve on that, man. You know? So don't give uncomfortable words when thou givest anything. Verse 16, shall not the dew assuage the heat? So is a word better than a gift. Lo, is not a word better than a gift? But both are with a gracious man. You hear that? When you're giving alms and helping Akim out, helping each other out, be cheerful, man. Be like, hey, bro, I got you, man. Be you don't have to say it like them, but be like the Chick-fil-A people, man. It is my pleasure. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. But mean it, man. Them Chick-fil-A workers, they don't mean it. They're doing it because they have to. All right. The Lord says, be about it. Say it, and also be about it. When you help each other out, lift each other up, man. All right. That's the spirit of the Lord, man. The spirit of the Lord is being charitable. Okay? You say you got the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Hey, are you charitable? Are you helping each other out? Are you willing to help each other out? Are you a giver? Are you a willing giver? According to what thou hast. Remember that. Okay? And, I don't want to make this about me, but my biological father, his name, his Spanish name, means agape. It is agape, agapito, which means, charitable, man, which means charity. All right, agape. All right, agapito. All right, it means charitable. All right. And, my dad, my father, he was still is, all right, a very charitable man. All right. He's been working his butt off still to this day to support me and my baby brother, man, when we were low, and had to deal with my bullshit, when I was younger, before I came into this truth, being a smoker, a weed smoker, being lazy, helping me out financially, helping me through stupid bonehead decisions, all right. I used to be a beggar, man. And we all know what the scriptures say, about a beggar. It's not a life to live. You're better off dead being a beggar. And I was always begging to my pops. Pops, can you throw me $20? Can you help me out with this or that? The Wadi Yabba Shem Yahshai, for my father. Because without him, I always say this to people in my life. I always tell them, I give reverence to my biological father, that, hey, if it wasn't for him, and also my mother too, but if it wasn't for him, I'd be on the streets or dead or in prison, or homeless, because, hey, man, my dad helped me through a lot, he was charitable, my dad, he ain't got no retirement plan, and he's a gambler. He likes going to the casino. Well, not a gambler. I wouldn't say that a gambler, because when you say gambler, the image pops up in your mind is a poker player or whatnot. My father he likes hitting the casino a lot. Well, he slowed down, lately, but he used to be heavy in the casinos and whatnot. you said, but yeah, but even though he was, he spent a lot of money at the casinos, with the money that he did have, he helped, he, you know, he raised me and my brother, you know. He made sure me and my brother were fed, had a roof over our head. Hey, sometimes some of the bills weren't paid. Sometimes we didn't have light in the house, all right? Sometimes we didn't have warm water, you know? Sometimes we didn't have the food that we wanted to eat, you know? Sometimes we didn't have internet. I used to always be mad at my father for little things like that sometimes, especially when I was younger, man. Because I had my mom, all right, who, my father and my dad were divorced, my mom would be like, see, your father, he's this, he's lousy, he spends all his money on the casinos, come live with me and whatnot, you know. I used to be like, yeah, she's right. My dad, he don't love me. Or he would have the bills paid all the time. Or he would buy me this, blase, blase. But as I grew up, the water Yahba Shemi Shai, for, putting, the wisdom in my mind to realize that, hey, though my father wasn't perfect, he loved me and my brother, He did whatever he could, all right? Even with his shortcomings, man. Even with his faults, his errors, all right? His imperfections, all right? And now look at him. My father, he was out there, at the last camp with me and Mataza, Mataza Lakam, And Lord willing, he continues, coming out there and possibly being part of the camp and starts prophesying, doing the work of Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai, man. And I used to pray about that, I pray for that for my father and my biological brother who's about to come by and pick up a pair of shoes, man, for work, I used to lose sleep knowing my father, which I love dearly, and my baby brother, which I love dearly, they know I would lose sleep, not knowing that, not knowing, I would lose sleep praying to Yahweh Shemi Shai that he wakes them up and causes them to go out there and prophesy with me, and wake up to this truth and do the work of Yahweh Shemi Shai so they don't be destroyed by Yahweh Shemi Shai. Because that's another reason why. That's one of the main reasons why we're charitable, man. All right. One of the main reasons is so we don't be freaking destroyed by nuclear missiles, or die from a grievous sickness, pestilence, or die of starvation that's to come, or die in a FEMA camp, or the Lord puts a spirit upon one of us to take the mark of the beast. Okay. Or one of these newly created creatures, kill us. Murder hornets kill me, That's another reason why Slakia, why I'm charitable, why brothers are charitable, because we know the terribleness of the Lord. The scriptures say, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. And persuading men, aka preaching this truth, all right, waking each other up, going out there to the highways and byways, edifying, exhorting, putting up videos and lessons, prophesying, is the main form of charity, all right? The scriptures say, lo, is not a word better than a gift, but both with a gracious man, okay? All right? And that word, is giving each other this truth, waking each other up to Yahweh Shemi Shai, giving each other, edifying each other, teaching each other about how to serve Yahweh Shemi Shai perfectly. All right? I got a whole bunch of priests. I just typed in giver I believe. And the first three, I'm going to read them. Why not? It's just three precepts. Luke 6:38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. You hear that? Give, and it shall be given unto you, man. Okay? So, hey, the Lord's going to reward you, man. Every time you give, you help out, you give something that you don't really need. You may want to keep it, but hey, but you give it, you help out and give it out anyway. The Lord's going to reward you no matter what. He's going to reward you eventually. Maybe not on your time, but hey, the Lord's going to reward you for that, man. Okay, give, and it shall be given unto you. Give measure. It's like a good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet, withal it shall be measured unto you again. All right. Ain't that peace of mind? All right. That's peace of mind, man. All right. All right. The things that you give and help out with, the Lord's going to give it back to you, man. All right. If it not be that day or the next day, or even in this life, the Lord's going to give it back to you, man. In the kingdom. Matthew 6:1. Take heed that ye do not alms. It's like, do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. All right, so don't be, recording yourself or making sure people look at you or see you. All right, while you're helping brothers out, because that's not sincere, man. Be sincere when you help each other. Give alms and be charitable, man. All right, don't be doing it in front of everybody on purpose. Doing it so people could people could see and think that you're cool, or a good person. Oh, that man's good. Yeah, that's a good man. Because see, he's giving that man a pair of shoes. And here your ass is on TikTok live or YouTube live, or you do it in front of a crowd, making sure people see. That's not, the Lord ain't gonna reward you for that. All right. Verse Acts 20:35. It says, I have shewed you all things, how that so laboring ye ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of Yahushai, of the Lord Yahushai, how he said, it is more blessed to give